Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in yet another Thursday webinar. And today we are going to cover a very long and important topic, right? It took me some time to, go through all the details about this particular subject, but I think it's a very important subject. And today we are going to talk about the dark funnel and deep personalization at scale, right? So it's a interesting topic. This is something that we as a insight tappers, we are still working on it. We are still learning on it, uh, and we are going to do a little bit of deep dive today in principle as to how you can use the principles of dark funnel and deep personalization at scale, right? Okay. So if you are into B2B sales and B2B marketing, then you are at the right place. At Insightstap, we help people run their B2B sales like an e-commerce engine. And this webinar is part of that particular series, right? Okay, so for everybody who is just tuning in, my name is Ritesh Osta. I'm the founder of a company, GTM agency called Insightstap, and I'm also one of the top rated Fiverr Pro, right? So you can find more information about me on LinkedIn. So go to LinkedIn and my Fiverr Pro profile, and you'll find a lot more information. So now I have a question for all of you. How to find leads before they find you? Okay, that's a question to all of you. If you have any answers, just go to the comment section and write down your answers. I mean, typically, most of the B2B sales team, they are reactive. That means they are just sitting around on their CRM and Salesforce and HubSpot, and most of them, they are just waiting for the prospects to go to their website or social media and fill up the form. And once the form comes in, it comes to their Salesforce, and then they start following up. So we call this process as inbound process. So on the outset, you might be running ads or SEO and content marketing and others, and that is attracting the prospect to come in, fill up the form, and then the sales team, they basically, they are not hunters, they are more like a gatherers, right? So they are just waiting for the fish to be on the net, and then they start working on that once it is in, right? I don't know whether that's the right comparison to make, but uh, this is how it looks like in many ways, right? So they are just waiting for the prospect to come. But what if you can find the leads before the leads find you? That's the question. And that's the whole principle of dark funnel. Can you identify leads and prospect even before they show intent? That means even before they, fill up the form and take some action on your assets like website and apps and others, right? That's the key here, and today we're going to, do a little bit of deep dive as to how we can do that. Now, in order to understand the dark funnel, we have to first understand what is a traditional funnel and what is a traditional lead, right? So for everybody who is like a newbie, this is a little crash course. A lead is prospect filling up a form with their contact details. So if somebody is just giving their name, for example, I fill up Ritesh Osta, it's not really a lead. But if I fill up Ritesh Osta email address, phone number, then that becomes a lead. So lead is a personal level information or a company level information along with a contact details, right? So the traditional leads are like somebody went to the website, they went to the contact us form, and then they filled up the form. It went to your CRM, right? Email campaign, you are running a newsletter campaign or an email campaign, and they reply saying that, hey, I'm interested in your product and service. And that lead passes through to the CRM. Or you're running the LinkedIn ads or a Meta ads or whatever, and then they come in and then they fill up the lead form in LinkedIn or Meta, and then it passes to your CRM or a spreadsheet. That's a traditional definition of lead, and the sources can be many, obviously, social media, website, app, right? And publishers. There are so many different channels from which you can get lead. But the principle remains the same. That person, the prospect needs to come, fill up the form, And then basically you can, your sales team will take over from there. And I'm purely talking from the B2B context here. The question is, are your prospects in dark? That means, as per most of the statistics, 98% of the prospects, they are looking for your product and services. They will never come and fill up your social media form or a website form. As per all statistics across the board, across the industry, 98% minimum, they're looking for your product and service right now, but they will never come and fill up your forms, or they will never contact you. That's the hard reality. Less than 2% are there in the market who are possibly aware of your product and service if you have built a brand. And some of them might go ahead and fill up a form. Some of them, not all of them, right? Because for that 2%, everybody is fighting, or it's a red ocean. All your competitors are also targeting those 2%. So most of the prospect who is looking for your product and service on the time that they need are in dark of your presence. All right. So according to many statistics, 98% of the B2B buying signal never reach your funds. Okay. And 80% of the B2B buyer research happens even before they talk to the sales. That means 98% of the people who are your prospect will never reach your funnel. And 80% of the research, even if the ones who are reaching, for the rest 2%, some of them they are reaching to your funnel, they have already done 80% of the research before they talk to your salespeople. So they are already pretty well aware. They are at what we call as the bottom of the funnel, right? So possibly they're already talking to your competitors as well. So you got to now work in a quote unquote red ocean, and you got to, fight for it, possibly give a discount, give an offer and all of that. Okay. And that's the hard reality that many companies are facing. Okay. This is the traditional funnel. Okay. This is one of the traditional framework called the IDA framework. IDA stands for awareness, interest, desire, and action. This funnel has been there for over 100 years. I mean, this framework has been there for over 100 years. It's a traditional framework. There are many other frameworks in place, but this is one of the most popular framework which is there. So basically, you create awareness, you run ads, you create SEO, you create content, you run social media posts, you create an awareness, you generate buzz using PR, newsletters, whatever. Okay. And then, some of them. So if you reach out to 100 people, then possibly, 5 of them will show some sort of an interest. Right. Okay. And then, out of those 5 people, maybe 2 or 3 people will show some sort of a desire. Right. And then, only say 1 or 2 person will go ahead and take some action. Okay. The action can be buying your product or, becoming a deal or whatever it is in your case. So this is how the traditional IDA funnel has worked. And this is what most of the marketing schools have been teaching for the most part of our last century. Okay. And that is how it is. If you want to be good at marketing, just go ahead and create awareness as much as possible, reach out to as many people as possible. And then, it will trickle down and some people will eventually go ahead and buy your product and service. That's more or less was the principle that most of the marketing schools and marketing thought leaders were promoting for the most part of last century and early this century. Okay, but things are changing, and thanks to AI, things are changing. And I'm going to come down to that a little later on. Things are changing, and things are changing very fast, and we're going to talk about it. Okay. Traditional marketing funnel. Why the traditional marketing funnel in today, 2025, is not enough? Because the traditional marketing funnel relies on spray and pray campaign. You spray, you reach out to a lot of people, and then pray that some of them will go ahead and eventually become your customers. Okay. But the point is that whoever has the maximum resources can do a maximum spray, right? If somebody has $100,000 Google Ads budget, they can reach out to a lot more people. Okay. If they have $50,000 on LinkedIn, they can reach out to a lot more people. If they have a large SEO team, content marketing team, But if somebody who do not have this kind of resources or the money, is going to be difficult, right? So the traditional funnel, marketing funnel, favors the companies and the individuals who have more resources. Absolutely, that is what the traditional marketing funnel favors. Okay, and historically, that is how it has been. There has been disruptions here and there, but I'm not going to talk about that in this particular webinar. The next question is the buyer journey really linear? Okay, so if you remember, we went back to AIDA funnel. Okay, so you create an awareness, you reach out to a lot of people, then some of them will show some interest, they will click on your ads, they will watch your video. Then some of them will show some desire, they will fill up the form. And, a few of them will go ahead and actually buy your product and service. That's how it is. But the question is the journey really linear? Is the question. If you look at the AIDA funnel, the journey itself looks very linear. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But in reality, what we have seen is it's not really a linear journey, right? Okay, it's not like they see your ad and then they fill up the form, then they talk to your sales, and then they buy your service. No, they might be doing 50 different other things. They might be doing Google search, searching for your competitors, going for G2 reviews, doing their own research or using ChatGPT. They might be doing 50 other things. All right. And one of the things might lead them to either your product or service or your competitor's product and service. So it's not really linear. On the outskirts, on the outset, it does look linear, but practically what we have seen is it's not really linear. So this journey, awareness, interest, decision, action, even though it looks linear, it makes sense to depict it as a linear journey, but in practical sense, it is not linear. So what is the 2015 playbook versus 2025 buyer? Okay. So in 2015, there was a playbook. Most of them were following this traditional AIDA funnel or other funnels, traditional playbook, run Google ads. They will fill up the form. They will, talk to the sales guy, and then the deal will be closed, right? The whole idea was to reach as many prospects as possible, as fast as possible, and then you are going to win. But that is not working anymore. Less and less people are, searching for things on Google and search engines, because now people are looking for things on ChatGPT and Gemini and whatnot. There are forums, there are social media, right? There are publishing sites like Medium. So people are everywhere. And it is not linear anymore, It's not like that they will go to Google, search for something, then, take action. It doesn't work like that in 2025 anymore. So buyers are not following a funnel. They follow their own path of least resistance. Okay, so if I'm looking for to build a website and I'm looking for a web developer, I may not go to Google and I may not search for web developers. I may not. I may also. I may just go to LinkedIn and just post it. Hey, I'm trying to build a website. I'm looking for a web developer. Just DM me. That's it. So buyers are not following funnels anymore. They follow their own path of least resistance. And that is the huge shift that has happened. Now, there is another major shift that has happened, is that the buyer is more and more invisible, right? So they are not lurking around the same channels what they used to be around in 2015. In 2015, most of the buyers used to be in Google. Some of them used to be in Quora, Reddit, social media, pretty much it. But now the buyers are there in Gemini, ChatGPT, Google, Bing, LinkedIn, Meta, Quora, Reddit, and it is unending. The channels are unending. So the buyer is kind of invisible. They are lurking around. They are hiding around, right? They are doing their own things. It's hard to find them. So right now, your best buyer might be clicking your ad, scrolling your competitors' LinkedIn posts, checking out G2 comparison between you and your competitors, taking demo with somebody else, and never showing up in your CR. That is the reality of today's buyer. Okay, and since it is never showing up in your CRM, quote unquote, your sales team might be completely missing this particular prospect because they are just hooked to their CRM. And I think that there's a major shift that needs to happen in B2B sales with respect to the BDM teams and the SDR teams to look at things a little differently. Okay, because things are going to change very fast and things are already changing super fast with this respect. So now the market is going from being reactive to proactive, reacting to proactive prospecting is where the shift is happening. And you got to understand the new buyer journey. Okay, the new buyer journey is not linear, it's messed up. It's a mesh. You don't know where it is they are starting and where they are ending. They might be starting with G2 and ending with LinkedIn. They might be starting with LinkedIn and ending with ChatGPT. You don't know, right? So the new buyer journey is more complex. The question is, are you the one in dark? Because the buyers, they are looking for things. Just like in 2015, in 2025, they are looking for things. And in 2035 also, they will be looking for things. Okay, if I need a web developer, I'll be looking for it. It's as simple as that. Okay, the channels may change, but the intent and the desire will not change. The question is, are you in dark about your customer's intent and behavior? So if the customer has an intent, are you in dark? Earlier, it was easy. If the customer has an intent, they will go to Google, they will search for it. So what you can do, you can just run an ads, right? Google ads. You run Google ads. So every time they look for, web developer, your ad will pop up, and then you get a lead and you are happy, right? And your customer is happy. It's a match. But what if the customer is not even going into Google? They are going to ChatGPT. What are you going to do then? They are just reviewing G2 sites or going to social media. So that is where the challenge lies in 2025. The question is, are you in dark about your customer's intent and behavior? So this is the depiction of the new funnel. Okay, we call it the dark funnel. Okay. So this is for representation only. I mean, this is an iceberg. As you can see, in iceberg, there is a small portion which is visible, and there's a large portion which is invisible. Right? So as I said, 98% of the people or your prospect, they are researching for things. They will never get to know you, and you may never get to know them at the right time. So only 2%, like the tip of the iceberg, they are aware of you, your product. Maybe they are seeing your ads. Okay, they are following you on newsletters and social media. So they are filling up the form or interacting with your ads, and that is how you are able to interact with them, to engage with them, right? Using outreach or CRM or ads, whatever the engagement is happening on that visual funnel. Okay, this is where the IDAs and other visual funnel lies. But there is a huge section of prospect which are in dark about your product and service, and you are in dark about them. So that is the dark side of the funnel, and we are going to talk more about that particular dark side of the funnel in today's session. Okay. So how to identify intent signals, how to create automations, to identify those intent signals, how to connect that everything to your DevOps and pipeline, and how to use AI agents to automate many of the things that we're talking about. That's the whole principles of dark funnel. So in principle, dark funnel stands, this is how it, the DARK, we have come up with this terminology in Insightstap for the dark, synonym, sorry, the acronym. So the D starts for detect. So this is a principle or the framework that we follow. That means first we need to detect the surface or hidden signals and intent. So if the prospect is looking for something, if they are on LinkedIn, they are typing something. If they are in Quora, they are asking something. They are in Google, they are looking for a keyword. They are doing a bunch of stuff, right? So how can you detect those prospects before your competitors does? So the D stands for detect. The A stands for augment. That means, you go to different channels and, go through different data which is available and try to augment and enrich so that you can take better decisions like demography, geography, technography. There are so many different layers of information which is there, on top of just name and email address or phone number, right? So those layers of information also needs to be added up. Okay, for example, if they're working for a company, what is the company? What is the size of the company? Is this a funded company? It's a large company? It's a small company? I mean, there are so many different enrichment that can be done. Then the third step is reach. That means you reach out to them. The moment you identify that they have a need, you reach out to them using multi-channel outreach, in real time, right? So you reach out to them on LinkedIn, on email, on ads, on text, whatever. And then 4 is Kaizen, which stands for, K. The fourth one is K, which stands for Kaizen, which means refine and expand, which is a Japanese term. It's a beautiful term, means, reflect and learn, right? So you've got to create a continuous feedback loop back to the detection, right? So this is the principle that we follow in Insightstap. We call it the dark funnel. By this principles, we have, this is the first level principle that we apply when we, do any GTM engineering for our customers. Okay. So detect the intended signals like, hiring spikes, web visits, clicks, competitor signals, app notifications, whatever. Augment, enrich, and amplify each signal with firmographic, technographic, and personal data. Reach, multi-channel outreach. And then Kaizen is, continuous improvement and expansion. Measure outcomes, refine the playbook, replicate wins into ICPs and pipelines. So this is the principle that we follow for GTM engineering for our customers and for ourselves. Now here's the question: why now? Why now we are talking about all these things? The reason is because AI and intent data is finally affordable. Now, this technology was there in 2015 also to a certain extent, but it was not affordable. It was super expensive. The Zoom Info's credit used to cost a lot, but now things are much easier thanks to the Cognisms and the Apollos. The data is cheap. And you don't need a lot of human beings to process that data anymore. You can create AI agent and automations, and you can process the information and you can take decisions, intelligent decisions quickly. So we can finally see, speak to, and scale hidden demand. So there is a demand out there. We can finally see, we can detect, and we can speak to and scale in mass. And you no longer need Amazon scale budget to personalize that scale. That means you don't need a large scale resources and a lot of people to do this level of personalization and scale. You don't need that. So that is what has changed in 2025 as compared to 2015. So the shift is from the noise to the signal. Okay. Earlier it was noise, just create campaign, create noise as much as possible. Shout as much as possible. Okay. Take a loudspeaker and just go to the marketplace and keep shouting until you have enough people who have heard about you, and then they take their decision. That is what was working in 2015. When in 2025, the shift is gradually moving towards signal. So instead of shouting, you are listening. Okay, you're listening. Okay, who is asking for what? Because now we have the technology tools for the first time ever, I believe, that we can actually do that at large scale. So now the major shift is between noise, campaigns, to signals, right? So this is the major shift, okay, from inbound to signal-based. So first, identify the signal. We talked about dark, right? Detect. Intent signal. Then, move it to AI agent to process the data. Then AI agent can also do an outreach using different automations and tools, can update the CRM and, notify the rep also. So in 2015, the rep used to just wait for somebody to fill up the form and then they used to follow up. But now they can set up a system uh, by which they can listen, web visitors, job hiring, ad clicks, social listening, app engagement, email engagement, and more. You can create all those. You can create agents, AI agents, to listen to all these signals and then do the outreach, automated, personalize the message, come up with new messaging, based on the signal that they're getting. For example, if somebody has visited the website, you have that extra piece of information that they have visited the website and they were checking the pricing page. So you can personalize the message more, saying that, hey, you know what, since you have, we are giving an offer or a discount, on our pricing, right? Ad clicks, they are clicking on our ads. That means they are engaging with our ads, App engagement, they are engaging with our apps. Okay, email engagement, social engagement. So that extra information can be used by AI agents to create more personalized outreach. And then, based on the reaction of this prospect, you can update the CRM and notify the rep using the HubSpot notification or Slack notification or whatever. So now suddenly your sales rep has gone from inbound, that is waiting and sitting for somebody to fill up the form, to signal based. So if there is a signal out there, the signal is there, the rep can reach out to those people before they reach out to the rep. So from reactive to proactive. Campaign focused to persona focused. Earlier it was like, take a keyword, run Google campaign left, right, center, run social media campaign left, right, center. You reach out to as many people as possible. But now it is more and more focused. You only want to reach out to, say, 500 companies who are 50 to 100 million within, in the heavy engineering space, who are posting certain type of jobs, who are also, who are also active in social media, and they have a team size of more than 1,000 people working for them. So you can be more and more persona focused in your outreach, email, text, ads. We are going from the large scale campaign focus to persona focused. So you focus on the personas and the use cases, and then keep working on that, right? So the ABM is changing in many ways, right? Especially for B2B. So company persona to signal to GTM tools to result. So listen to those companies. The third major shift which is happening is contact-based to unified customer profile. Let me explain what I mean by that. We are living in an age of CDP, customer data profile. Okay. Earlier, for the most part, the CRM used to be the single source of truth, and CRM is contact-based. For example, if there's a contact, name Ritesh Osta, email address so and so, phone number so and so, company so and so, blah blah blah. Contact. Not much information was there apart from that. But now we are living in an age of unified customer profile. So we have more information that we are gathering. Ritesh Osta works for this particular company, but this company is also funded. This company has more than 1,000 employees. This company just posted a job on this. This company has been very, very, doing active PR on this new product launch that they are doing. This particular person also visited my website, checked out the pricing page, and this person is already a free user in my app. So different sources of information, is now getting fed to the CDP, the central profile, or the unified customer profile. Okay, app, web analytics, CRM, API, external, internal, behavioral, technographic, company level data, all are being fed. Okay, so now we are moving from contact based to unified customer profile, which is not just the contact, but also the behavioral, technographic, and other sources of information added to that particular contact. Another major shift which is happening is static workflows to contextual AI decision making. Earlier, the workflows used to be very static. Okay, if the person comes and if the person is a CEO or C-level executive, then start this workflow. If the person is from a large company, start this workflow. If the person is from a startup, start this workflow. Stuff like this. Very simple. Okay, if the person is from US, do this sequence. If that person is from Europe, do that sequence. So it was very, very, what do you say, conditional based workflow. And you need to come up with all those conditions and set up the workflow in CRMs like HubSpot and Salesforce, and those continuously upgrade those particular workflow. But now, from there, we are now moving to contextual AI decision making. So now it is not just about static workflow. Or if the companies from US do this, from UK do that. No, it is contextual. Okay, so you can train the AI. You can call the AI saying that, hey, you know what, take a better decision. Okay, if the person is from US, if from a startup, this and that, then it falls under this particular category. Take a better decision and create a dynamic workflow, right? Which is more personalized to that particular use case. So even AI can take the decision making in many ways, right? So you don't have to take all the decisions, and you don't have to come and you can continuously refine it, but AI can do a lot of decision making, which otherwise you had to do it, right? At a very granular level. So that's also one of the major shift that is going on right now. Deep relevance. Okay. So relevance is something which is becoming more and more impactful. In order to have a good personalization, you need to be relevant, right? For example, most of the personalization in 2015 was, hi, first name, your company does this service, product and service. So this is what we can help you. This is what, even today, most of the companies, they are in the name of personalization. That's what they're doing. They're adding some attributes, and then they're just updating it dynamically, and pretty much they are thinking that that's pretty much personalization. But with AI, apart from personalization, you can also do relevance. AI can see whether it is relevant or not. For example, if somebody has come from US and it's a startup, belongs to a startup company, as compared to somebody who has come from US who belongs to enterprise company, the relevance is different. If somebody is a CIO as compared to somebody who is an end user, the relevance is different. The messaging needs to be different. The messaging that you're going to give it to end user should not be the ones that you're going to give it to CFO or CIO, right? So the relevance matters. If somebody has visited your website and checked out your pricing page as compared to somebody who has not, then the relevance matters. Okay, so somebody who has done you checked out your pricing page is possibly more interested in your product and service as compared to somebody who has just downloaded the case study. So you can train AI. The AI can be trained, okay? And then AI can make the personalization more relevant, okay? For example, referencing their hiring needs, acknowledging the content that they read, matching the role with the relevant CTA. And thanks to AI and dynamic workflows, you can do this at scale, okay? So I think this is all interconnected. We talked about static workflow to contextual AI decision making. And then, contextual AI decision making can create deep relevance to your personalization. So this is the personalization logic tree to go personalization at scale. This is what we follow. Role plus company plus signal plus enrichment. It's 4 layers. Check out the role, who the person is. Okay, whether the person is CIO or CFO, what kind of company they are working for, what is the what kind of nature of the company, the industry, the funding, and all the other information. Then look for signals. Maybe they are hiring people, they are growing fast, they are launching a new product. So get those. There are different APIs you can call, and you can scrape, and you can gather information from different sources. Get the signals, and the signal can also be they visited your website, they became a free user in your app. Even that is a signal. So your own asset can also provide signals. Okay, so add those signals and then enrich, continuously enrich the data. And then based on all these 4 parameters, you create relevance call to action. So you create relevance, and then that relevance will go ahead and create the personalization. All right. So this is the framework, what we call as the personalization logic tree. that we follow. So this is the personalization at scale use case. Okay, role, VP finance, company, industry, size, tech stack, signal, hiring spike, web intent, product usage. Okay, enrichment, firmographic, technographic layers. You add that information. Combine all this information to a laser focused relevance call to action. So when you do an outreach or when you run an ads, it's laser focused. And you can use the technology like the CDPs like Segment and Web Engage and HubSpot and Salesforce. You can integrate all of that together and you can achieve that. The role of AI agents. Okay, you can decipher all the signals using human beings, right? You can put somebody and they can just keep looking for things. They can go to social media and keep looking for things. They can go to G2 and then keep looking. You can do a lot of stuff using human beings. Obviously, you will need a lot of human beings. But now in the age of AI, we can create AI agent, which can basically replicate all the repetitive tasks that a human being will do, right? So if there is a signal, you can build an AI agent around that, that can listen to the signal, for example, hiring rounds or website visit or app engagement, whatever. Create an AI agent, and that AI agent will continuously listen to it, enrich the data, and then pass the data for outreach. Okay, the outreach can be manual or can be another AI agent running the outreach. It's totally fine. And then, based on the outreach and the interaction with the prospect, you can update the CRM or Slack and then notify the rep. So that is the kind of GTM engineering and AI workflows that we are creating using multiple AI agents. And then there can be AI agent to manage those AI agents also. Even that is the use case that we are working actually. So the possibilities are just many. Okay. Voice agents to book demos, chat agents to handle support, workflows that follow up automatically. Very simple use cases which are now being used across industry. Okay, using tools like GPT, Zapier, SmartLead, HubSpot, Anytime, Clay. Technicalities is something we are going to go into technicalities when it comes to GTM engineering on some of these use cases in the coming days. So stay tuned, okay? And do subscribe to our channel if you have not yet subscribed, and do follow us on our social media pages. The dark engine is the new night vision. So if you create a dark engine, if you can create a system around which, these systems and automations and AI agents can continuously listen and update, outreach, update the CRM, then you effectively have created a system to look into the dark using some sort of a night vision goggle. Okay, and you can stay ahead in the game. You are penetrating deep into that 98% of the prospect who will never get to know you, but you will get to know them. And you can reach out to them before your competitors reach out. So that's the beauty of this new age dark funnel strategy that we can apply. So look at this system as a night vision camera. Okay, you can see things which is otherwise invisible. So for all the buyer intent that happens outside your channels, outside your website and social media and all, and even within your channels, you can finally speak to, and scale hidden demand. I mean, for everybody who's visiting your website, how many of them are actually filling up the form? Possibly less than 2%. If there are 100 people actually visiting your website, possibly 2 of them will go ahead and fill up the form. What about the 98% of the people? That's still a dark funnel, right? Even though they have interacted with your channel, you're still in dark of them. They are not in dark of you, but you are in dark of them. So you can also, reach out to people who are interacting with your channel, your own channel, and also, somebody who is not even in the chat, in your channel. For example, they are just posting a job. They have never come down to your website or app or social media, but they are posting a job, and based on that, you identify, okay, fine. Since this company is posting this type of job, they are our prospect. For example, job post, website visit, competitor comparison, ad click, social engagement, third-party API, app engagement, data, and more. The possibilities are humongous. So what is this dark vision or the dark night vision? We talked about, okay? So we are going back to the principle that we talked about, which is detect. AI-powered GTM engines that detect, capture, and enrich intent data. Augment personalization at scale through contextual enrichment. Reach. That means you can reach out to those people in real time using, email, text, social ads, in-app notifications, and more. And then Kaizen, which is continuous improvement, feedback loop that you create. And to expand the IC. So you are continuously, for example, there is a certain type of customer who is posting certain type of jobs, and then you reach out to them. And then say, hey, you know what? We have a product and service for you. Then they may see your ads or see your emails, and then they might visit your website. Okay, that means they have shown intent. That means good. Then you can find more ICPs like that, right? More companies like that, and then reach out to them also, so you can scale, right? So that's the whole idea about this principle, the principle of dark fund. And what is the execution playbook? How to execute it? So we have an execution playbook as well. Okay. So it's a very simple playbook in which we combine the data operations, the marketing operations, the revenue operations, and then we create what we call as the GTM engine. So the modern GTM stack, go-to-market stack, is a combination of data operations, marketing operations, and revenue ops and the sales team. They have to work together. Earlier, it was mostly siloed, the data team working separately, marketing team working separately, sales team working separately. The sales team, marketing team not aware of the data. For example, the marketing team is not aware of who are the ones who is visiting the site website, who are the ones who is engaging with the app. They were not aware most of the time. But now all the three teams needs to work together, and then they need to work as a GTM engine, right? So you've got to build that. So putting it all together in three GTM, it's a signal engine. That is, you've got to build an engine to detect and score intent, detect the signals and score them. See which one is valid, which one is not, which one is qualified, which one is not. So you can do this. Then create a personalization engine, that means enrich the information, enrich the data. Okay, and then the activation engine, that is, you need to reach out to those people, right? You don't have to reach out to all the people. This is where the detection and the personalization comes to the picture, and you can remove many of them, right? And then you reach out to the ones that is truly relevant to you, and then create a feedback loop. If things work, scale more, do more of it. If things does not work, scale down. So this is how the GTM ops looks like. So we have the data ops, the marketing ops, and the revenue ops. And then we call it one GTM ops, the operations. Ops stands for operations, by the way. Now, this is a question that comes to me personally a lot. What is a GTM engineer? There are a lot of people talking about it. Question. GTM engineer is somebody or a team which does all of it that we talked about, especially on the B2B context. They build the signal engine, they build the personalization engine, they build the activation engine, and then they create a feedback loop. That is the job and the role of GTM engineer. There's a lot of confusion around what is the role of GTM engineer. Apparently, just like product marketer, it's a large role, right? But this is a very execution level role. You've got to connect the dots. It may be like three different teams, but a good GTM engineer needs to connect the dots and reach a goal. The goal can be pipeline, sales, engagement, whatever it is, and the goal needs to be reached. So these are some real world use cases. There are very few that I have put. In the coming days, we are going to talk more on that. SaaS startup using funding signals to trigger one-on-one outreach. Right. So if you want to reach out to SaaS startups, or you want to reach out to other startups who has just recently got funding, you can, based on that particular signal, you can create an agent and trigger one-on-one outreach. Right. Okay. Enrich the data, reach out to them saying that, hey, you got the funding, we have this particular solution. We are a finance compliance management companies, specifically we work on with startups on certain compliances, blah, blah, blah. So we can help you out. Right? Absolutely. Clinics automating inbound follow-up with voice agent. Very commonly used use cases now, medical practitioners and doctors and clinics and automating the inbound follow-up with voice agents. A lot of questions, patients have a lot of questions and all, they are creating more and more follow-up, even at the time when doctors or the health expert is not there, right? B2B firm unifying ads, ABM, and CRM. So B2B firm unifying the ads input signals, account-based outreach that they are doing, that signal, and the in-house CRM data they are just enriching and then creating a unified account-based marketing campaigns, which has better and faster sales cycle. Another very simple use case that we are building it. Managed service providers, recruitment firm, detecting job spike alert. Okay, so if you are a recruitment firm or managed service provider, you're looking for companies who are hiring for certain positions. They have a spike in hiring alert, so that you can reach out to those companies. Correct? That's another real world use case. So the use cases are many, and we will continue talking about this subject and the use cases. I hope that you liked the subject. I hope I was able to shed light on some of the topics, which is very, very frequently asked. Okay. If you have more questions, please go ahead and write down in the comment sections. If you want a certain subject or a topic that you want us to cover, please write down in the comment section. We will be very, very happy to answer your queries as much as possible. Okay. So thank you so much